Signs of the Southland for Monday, April 13th, 2026. We're back with another edition of your weekly dose of Georgia Tech numbers and words. My name is Akshay Shwarn, and joining me once again are Jack Purdy and Jake Grant. Gentlemen, which of the many, many, many runs that Georgia Tech baseball scored against number five FSU in a three-game sweep was your favorite?
Honestly, it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick, Akshay. My favorite run of the series was one they didn't score to end game one, but
I
we
was
can
about to
talk
say
about
that
that when we
same
get there.
thing. And that's where my head was at too. Was the one that we held off. Uh, I think I liked Burris just getting a home. It was garbage time run, but it was still a home run nonetheless. It just felt nice to finally see him hit one out after not. He's on track to still get the all time program record, but it was just nice to see it. It's not a march we're really shooting for, I think, just in general. But it's if it happens, great. If not, whatever. Hit all the doubles.
What a weekend. What a weekend of baseball. Let me see if I can actually do math in my head. A 29 run weekend paired against a 33 run weekend last weekend versus Cal. So if you're treating the number five team in the country much like lowly California, I think you're doing something right. So recapping the week that was 11-4 victory over Kennesaw State in the midweek, and then the aforementioned dismantling of number five Florida State 4-3 win. 8-3 win, and then 17-3 demolition in 7 innings. A fascinating series in a lot of ways. I think all three of us were in attendance on Thursday in some way, shape, or form and saw just a game that got a little too drunk for its own good at times, which was helped primarily by the one of the record crowds one of the record crowds in Georgia Tech history, 40, 45 in attendance. It's the largest midweek crowd ever, technically midweek because it's Thursday, not the weekend. And then the weekend ended with the largest crowd since 2009 with 43,26 on hand to watch an absolute demolition of the number five team in the country. Jack, do you want to give us the rundown to start here?
This I think we talked last week about like how if they can get over this hump, this they're gonna have passed all the tests by then that we'd need to see to be like, okay, they're clearly one of like they're deserving of their rank as a top now two team in the country, and they passed with flying colors, and not just because they beat the crap out of them in game three, but it's because of how they won multiple kinds of games. Game one, they were facing good pitching. They were strike. We were struck out a lot in this series. Like for all the runs we scored, there was a lot of strikeouts happening with our hitters. But we got through one of their best relievers in the first game, and that did a lot. So I think set the tone of like where this series was going to go. Is that we were going to force good at bats in clutch situations. Our pitching was absolutely fantastic. Always recovered. Never lost its groove at any point. Tate McKee on Friday had one little blip inning, but then he talked about in the press conference after, like he found his pitches, found his slider, settled down, went back to his ground ball approach, and things worked out really well. And he ate a lot of innings, which is something that we've been really wanting to see out of him. Is just get past the fourth, get into the fifth, get into the sixth inning, get to the bullpen guys, and he did it. And they went to Mason Patel, and Mason Patel cleaned him up and finished with one of the coolest plays I've seen in a long time with the 1-3-2 double play that sent. I mean, the team reacted like it was a walk off homer when they finished that
Yeah,
play. It was electric in there. I could not believe just how fun of a moment that was.
that was an emotional game.
It
That
really
was
was.
a very emotional game. Definitely kind of a bit of a strange energy around just some of the uh vibes. I don't know. We were all there, but for those who weren't, kind of chippy, little loud. Certain of those things are better than others. Consider this my getting on my soapbox to say stop doing the tomahawk chant at FSU. One or two times, haha, it's funny, it's theirs, but when we're losing, it's their thing.
It
Don't do
did
it over the
last the
fight
entire
song.
week. It did
It
last the whole
drives me.
weekend.
I know. I was there. I was watching the
Yeah.
games, and it was driving me insane. I don't. I obviously that is not the biggest problem that I had, but I think it's a little bit emblematic of just like man, like people were into it for better or for worse. What they were
Yeah,
doing, they were making noise. They were making it hard for getting pitches in. I'm sure for FSU, it was. I don't know. It's probably the loudest Georgia Tech crowd per capita that I've ever seen. That Thursday night game, it was
sure.
we
Yeah, yeah,
Akshay and
yeah.
I were standing in the very back left corner of standing room, as far away from the action as you can possibly be,
Other
and it
than
was
one
loud,
left fielder.
other than one left fielder, But like it was really loud, Jack.
Yeah,
The yellow
I,
yeah.
Yellow
I
Jacket
don't
chant
know.
was deafening,
It
like deafening in
was
a way that it's not in any
I
other venue
yeah.
other than the football stadium.
With
And
55,000 people
Right.
yeah,
Right.
for that.
Yeah,
I,
I was in I sat in the crowd for the first 6 innings of that game, and then went up to the press box for the last 3 innings just so I could get to write just so I could start writing some semblance of a recap or just thoughts down. And so I didn't get to you don't hear it as loud in the press box. You know it's loud, but like it's not like I have walls and windows in front of me and stuff like that. We have some windows
yeah.
open to let the air in, but it's still like you don't match it at all. Also, we're not like chanting it in the press box because we're not allowed to do that. Uh, so that part it is there's a lot of chatter on social media as well. It's like this feels like a football game right now in terms of how
it's
the vibe
playoff
was.
baseball.
Yeah, it really. I mean, it
It
basically it was absolutely a playoff atmosphere. Like you would call it tournament atmosphere, I guess, in college context, but still, it was exactly that. Student section was raucous all freaking weekend long. The only time they started to have any semblance of gaps was when we went up a gazillion runs in game 3, and they were like, "All right, it's time to get on with my Sunday." That was pretty much or Saturday. That was kind of it. Otherwise, it was packed to the gills the entire time. They were loud. I need to laud George, the video guy for the baseball team, who runs over there like 8 times a game to get footage of them doing whatever the hell they're doing and getting them cheered up. I know he is sweating his ass off, getting all that done in these warm games. So uh, everyone's working hard and really in sync with this. I'll have comments about how James Ramsey's leading this team later on, but anyways, yeah, Tate McKee good.
Yeah.
Game 1, game
Yeah.
2, Porter Bursama, holy cow, he followed it up. We weren't sure if he was going to follow it up, and he freaking followed it up with another crazy good outing with his 4 innings. Um, Clutch hitting late. All three of these games had a similar pattern of first couple times through the lineup, a lot of strikeouts, nothing super consistent, not teams not stringing together a lot of hits. And then when we got to the third time through the order, we started figuring things out, and Florida State never did.
Well, and that's an interesting thing too, is like obviously Tech did not strand a ton of runners on Saturday,
No.
winning 17-3. But like it was not a fluke that Tech won these games. They had
No,
traffic on the
not at all.
bases.
Yeah,
Like Friday or Thursday is probably the best example of this just because it was the closest to the game. But
I
like
agree.
Tech left a lot of men on. There were times where it's like,
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
let.
about this. Maybe the first inning, I think we left two on it. We could keep going, but
Well,
like
I'll
it
give
was
you.
one of those
I'll
things
get.
where it's like,
Yeah, we left
how many
12 on in that
opportunities are you
case.
gonna get?
Yeah, we
You
left
know?
12 on base to score 4 runs. They only left 5 on base for their 3 runs. So were they more efficient? Technically, yes, but like we were giving ourselves chances. And I mean,
Yeah.
we've had close games, and Ramsey's talked about this in the past. Like even if we don't get all the runs in, like we know we're giving ourselves a lot of opportunities. And left on base does mean you have opportunities. You don't get the ball because it's baseball, but they're doing a damn good job of giving themselves opportunities.
Jack, I want your thoughts on something because I already know Akshay's because again, I was standing right next to him.
Okay.
Thoughts on the bunt situation in the sixth to get the game. I don't know if it was the tying
Oh,
at
is
bat
this
or just
was
about it.
this
But
game one you're talking
yeah,
about?
so it was game
yes,
one.
Oh shoot, do I remember this?
I can
Who
pull it
was it?
up in
Was
the
this
play-by-play if you
Brocious?
give me a
Was this
sec.
Brocious that did the bunt? Am I making that up?
I think it was Brocious, but let me check on that. I want to make sure I have the right thing for you. Uh, box score. It's not in the box score 'cause it's not play-by-play.
No.
Nuts. All right. Well, pretty sure. Yeah, 3 runs in the bottom of the sixth. There's an infield single from Curse, wild pitch from Burris.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when we took the lead
Yeah, that
four
is when we took the
three.
lead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, if it get at that we were playing a long ball kind of game at that point. I think I'll note that
yeah,
like the situation wasn't going to be, hey, Parker, go hit a home run. Like that's not his game
yeah.
style. He's got enough speed to make something happen in that context. So I'm not super just I wouldn't be too mad about that. Was that when John
Yeah.
Abraham? That was when John Abraham was pitching, if I'm not mistaken. Who, dude's great. Like the fact we got through on John Abraham is a big freaking deal. That is as huge of a sign that this team is going to can beat any pitcher in the country. Was that
Yeah.
inning right there? And the fact we can do it with actual we mixed it up, and James Ramsey had the confidence in the guys to mix it up and show different ways to get around these guys is fantastic. Like that's one of the most reassuring things I can say about the teams right now is that they have found multiple ways to win games, and they aren't flukes. They, as you said, like there is real purposeful baseball happening in different ways you can play, which shows how good they're prepared too for these teams and for these games. And so, uh, yeah, it's big. I think we did allow a lot of homers in this series, but a lot of solo homers.
Yeah.
We never let Florida State take advantage of us when they got the base when they got a lot of guys on base. They didn't get a lot of guys on base in general compared to us, but when they were getting the ball out of the ballpark, it was not in optimal situations. I mean, every home run's optimal, but it's still they weren't kill shots, so to say. Um, so that's yeah, we avoided putting ourselves in bad situations pretty much the entire series. If we put Florida State in really tight situations all the freaking time. And eventually they just ran out of pitchers. It felt like at the end of Game 3, and we just destroyed them in those fifth and sixth innings when the series was kind of like it was kind of like if you think of the three games as one game, that was kind of the garbage time of the series. You could think of it that way. Like they just ran out of guys, didn't have it, put the reserves in, and we took advantage of it.
That's like
Um,
the point, right? Like,
yeah.
I think if you think, I don't know, I'm like very NCAA tournament pilled at this point, but I think about all these things in the context of a regional or like a
Yeah.
regional
Yeah.
final. It's like you want your opening games of a regional to set up like this. You win your first two, you're on to the regional final,
Yep.
and you still have arms left in the tank in order to in order to advance to the super. And I think we talked about this a long time ago. I think this was 2 years ago with Ben King when he came on and explained, like, did the season preview and explained,
Hmm.
okay, this is the approach that you want heading into a regional.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it this from this lens, when you look at this series from that lens, excuse me, it makes sense, right? Like
Yep.
this is exactly how you want to execute. You got the timely hitting that you need, but in those playoff baseball situations, you need the pitching to be airtight, and that's what they got in this
Yep.
series, and that's how they just blew the doors off of Florida State, and that's really what helped them blow the doors off Florida State on Saturday.
Yep. And we threw no more than three pitchers in each game. Two on
Exactly.
Thursday, three on Friday, three on Saturday. Saturday, if we didn't get over the 10 run limit, we'd probably throw four or five just because we got a lead, but we only needed to throw three because of the mercy rule. But still, you put yourself in that situation
And
to allow that to happen.
and this is where I'd like to give a shout out, Jake Lanky, Brett Barfield. I mean, yeah, Lanky walked too, but like pretty clean
Yep.
innings,
Got it
no
done.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just got it done. The kind of, I feel like we talk about this lineup a lot. Could probably go X, Y, and Z deep on, Burris, Lackey, Avicula,
Mm.
Schmidt, Zuckerman, Hernandez. Yeah, I could keep going, right? But
Yep.
like getting a clean inning of relief out of both of those guys. Same thing, Dylan Loy and Caden Gaudette. Couple of innings each on Friday, one earned run each. Like that's a good that we take those, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I
As a
honestly, my biggest qualm about this game is the students doing the dang tomahawk chop, which tells you about how the weekend went, guys. Like it. Yeah, you'd love to score a billion runs and strand no runners, but like a sweep against a top five team, most people look pretty good. It's about to be final season. I'm sure it's a heck of a weekend to have UNC and UGA coming up while like headed into the end of the year. It's going to be a slog for them, but shoot, come middle end of May, you're playing free and you're playing hot. So I think there's a lot to love there.
Just to wrap up and talk about those two teams coming around the mountain uh, this weekend. Best full series attendance for Georgia Tech ever, with all three games sold out at 12,585 in attendance. The 270 ERA over their last 12 games, all wins. That is the best in the Power Four conferences and second best in the entire NCAA. This season is tied for the best start in program history through 35 games. Like I said, active 12-game win streak. It's the first sweep of Florida State in 20 years. This team has scored 393 runs in 35 games, which is the most in program history. And Carson Kersey named ACC Player of the Week for his performance this past weekend. It's a good team. It is a good baseball team. It's a very good baseball team.
When
Any other notes here?
when the nation's leader in doubles bats sixth in your lineup is some or seventh, no eighth, you know something's going right.
Yeah,
Almost
they're
struck
pretty
out there
good.
yourself.
Uh, man, that would have been bad. Um, I would have had to lead. I would have had to walk to the dugout for that one.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I mean, I've mentioned. I mean, I talk about James for a second. Like, my goodness, he feels like he's everything you'd want to see in a head coach right now. Like, I mean, I asked a question about North Carolina after the Saturday press conference. He's like, "Well, don't forget about Georgia Southern." I'm like, "You're right. Like, you don't want don't overlook anybody. Like, even though it is Southern and they truly are not good at baseball right now, it's you can't look ahead like that. Like, that is how we've seen teams lose games all the time. We see the football team do that in very concerning spots at times over multiple head coaches. So and everyone just is just having a really good time playing baseball together, which that's exactly what you want. That's what you see of like I remember when the Braves won the World Series, like that's what they were doing too. Like everyone thoroughly enjoyed being with each other and playing baseball together and just doing the team part of baseball. And if you're doing that well, that sets you up in a lot of ways to just be open to being taught and openness to change on a dime in games and be able to listen to your coaches and things like that and maybe or get providing new ideas. Like they're in a very healthy spot of mind right now. I think is what I'm wanting to say there. Um, I also just can't lose sight of the irony that if we make it to Omaha in James's first season, it'd be a lot like the old what Danny did in '94. But I mean, we'll take it better now than not now. So, but still got a lot of games to win before we get there.
A lot of games
Yeah.
left. Gentlemen, I have a query for you. I have a question, a quandary. Should there be more seating in that stadium? Honestly,
I
like
I was
the hit record for a single game is like what 40. Jackie said 41, 4,200.
40. Let me double check here.
Oh no, I just said 4326 is the largest crowd since '09. It's got to be like 45.
It is 4609 was the all-time attendance record set back in 2009,
which
according to the team.
sidebar, I don't know how we didn't sell out that Auburn regional in 2019. That that was full. But I guess they didn't sell as much standing room, or maybe they didn't allocate as much standing room, who's to
Who
say?
knows?
But my thought is I wouldn't want us to, and I've kicked this around for weeks since this year's Auburn game. Like you don't want to go and build a second deck. That's too much
No,
money.
no.
If you're only doing this even 3-4 times a year, you sell out the sellout games, and it makes people spill over hopefully into some of the other games next year, right? Oh, I missed Florida State. I gotta buy my season ticket for next year. Like it takes years of sustained success to do that. That being said, I think it is highly feasible, or maybe not highly feasible. I don't know the rules about how far away you got to build from like structures and things like that. But like, I assume if you have enough clearance over the access roads in the outfield, you could
Yeah.
probably do some damage and or maybe not some damage. That's the wrong word for it. But I'm sure there's some sort of temporary seating thing that could be finagled. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
mean Central Florida
make
built
it
an
look like
entire stadium
Vandy,
out of
right?
temporary seating.
Yeah. Ha ha ha. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
But the like and again, not to be like, oh, I've been to Vandy and this is my one data point, but like they got a couple rows out there in the outfield, right? You'd think it's possible at least, but
Something. Maybe. Yeah.
yeah,
It depends on how much. Yeah, I don't think we don't have all the info on like how much clearance they need to like they need for the various vehicles for landscaping on the field and where you need to put an emergency vehicle if so and things like that. Like there's a lot of just random stuff that could make you say no, you can't do that kind of thing that seem annoying but are necessary. Um,
yeah,
what I think best case scenario that won't happen because I don't want to tear those trees down, but is to do a Wrigley Field style uh, across the street seating at the sororities over there. That's
It's too
right.
far.
Just on the
It's way too far,
That's
though.
not too far. That's not too
The
far. You can see the whole
sorority
game.
houses?
You can see the whole game. You can see the whole game right
That's
on the corner of Fowler and Techwood. Hell yeah, you can see the game from there. If you
that's too
now, you
far.
do have to tear the trees down, so
I
this is a non-starter. But like
no. So if you're tearing down the trees, you wind up with 10, 15 feet of space between the maintenance road
that's where you
and the
do it. Yeah,
street.
that's where you
And
actually
that's
do
where
it.
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
yeah.
go build it
Yeah.
on top of Zeta or Fiji. That would be way far.
You
That's
do
Yeah, yeah,
both.
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
do both.
No, no,
No,
no, no. Hold
no.
on, no. Time
No,
out, time out,
Jack,
time
have you
out.
been to Wrigley Field? Have you?
I have.
Come on, man. Ay, ay, ay. It's doable, but there's a difference there
That's
in
all I
how
need
the
to know.
built environment there's a difference there in the built environment because there's 20 feet setbacks or more from these houses across from Tech, and also the pointiness of the Fiji roof and Kappa Sig on the near side. You'd never be able to make that work without literally tearing down the houses and rebuilding them like fronting the street. You're talking about if you were to go
I'm
even to the
talking
near part
about
of Fiji.
things so
I'm passionate
unreasonable
about the
they
Chicago
should happen.
Cubs.
It's so
Yes,
unreasonable it should happen.
The
it's
one thing that you
it's
could do, let me throw this at you
hold
while
on.
Jake looks this up. The one thing that you could do that is like half a meme, half serious, is build a viewing deck at Brock. Like
Yep.
they have a
That's fair.
door
That
or
is fair.
something like
Yeah.
where the signage is that says John, it was like John and Mary Brock practice
Yeah.
facility that faces the baseball stadium. Turn that into a viewing deck and sell tickets there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
That's a
and
Crawford
this is
box,
where
basically.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
where I play our tickets and say, listeners, valued listeners, we just did all this as a ruse because we did all the math to see how many people you could fit in that space. So Akshay has brought us back around to the original point of Jack and I just created a distraction to set up. Yes, if you measure it out on Google Earth and look at the other GA seating in the stadium to develop a seats or a persons per square foot ratio, we estimate from the Rumble seat certified that you could put about 900 GA type of seats, bench type seating or standing seats out there. That includes a 10% margin for walkways and things like that. You could stretch it out probably a little bit more around the corner than we looked at. So I'd say conservatively 750. I think it could be done, and the biggest limiting factor on that Crawford box is how much clearance you need, and are you going to have to go so far up that it becomes not feasible to
Yeah.
drive a truck to there, and how far away from Brock do you then need to be? Because like if you could just hang it off the side of Brock,
That was my
that's
idea originally.
Just
that's pretty reasonable.
build it on the side of the sign, inside the sign, and the sign just folds out, and then you have the seating come out like that.
Exactly.
I'm trying to picture where I've seen this, and I don't know if it's a softball or baseball stadium.
You've seen a Murphy bed
That's
seating situation at a
no,
stadium?
no, no, no. No, it's a set of stands hung. Wait, no, I know where I've seen this. Duh. It's how tennis and track used to be. You know, you got the like one thing and it hangs off both sides.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like one, obviously you wouldn't have seats that go back towards the Brock, but I'm like,
No.
what am I thinking about? Like where you're looking both ways, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
if you can build right up to the edge of Brock and get like 10 or 12 feet clearance is okay for whatever ingress egress below. Yeah,
Now that
I
works.
think 750 works
And
in Jake's hypothetical.
in like a
Right?
3-year callback, that's what that works if you turn Roseville Field into the soccer stadium, and then you have the seats going both ways, looking at the end of this of the soccer field that won't ever be a soccer field. You put bleachers along Fowler Street, like I jokingly talked about, for right field at baseball, and then you have a new sport, and you get more use out of that area.
Or or
Brent
or
Jones, I hope you're
so
listening.
so can we extend this hypothetical even further? If you're knocking out those trees and you just start in right field with a set of stands that goes all the way down towards Rose Bowl Field,
Yeah,
just make the left field line the like soccer baseline, play
exactly.
out towards Rose Bowl Field, and
Hmm.
make center field just like a rolling thing. But then you're running into the scoreboard, so obviously there's problems there, but like it could be done.
There used to
It
be a
would
tree in
just be a
center
matter of
field at
should
Ponce
it
de
be
Leon
done.
Park. I don't see why this is a problem.
There used to be a tree in center field at Texas's baseball field.
Yeah,
So
as far as I know, natural hazards are just part of the game.
have you seen what Texas's baseball diamond looked like up until like 1975 with like the sheer cliff face that you have to like take the path up to the top?
I think I remember seeing this photo.
Viewers go look or listeners go look for it.
Podcasting
It's
is a
like
visual medium.
There's also just the
I
one that used to
cannot
exist in Houston that we all know about at
Yeah.
Minute Maid.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Wow, we are
Anyways,
so far
it was all a
away from the
ruse. It was
point.
all a ruse, Jack. That whole conversation.
Anyway, Tuesday versus Georgia Southern, weekend at Chapel Hill versus number 3 UNC. Team's good. Go watch it. Any other notes from around the ACC, folks?
nothing really to mention. We're like the best team in the ACC, so I mean, we're the ones to beat. Who cares what everyone else does at this point? I mean, I'll just note for the North Carolina series, we are favored to win the series by we're 58% favorites to win the series according to Pair, 91% to at least get one game, 17% chance to sweep. So and favored by about 7/10 of a run in a single game situation. So they're going to be very good if they get a game. That's perfectly reasonable, probably expected. Um,
How
so
did Carolina do versus Clemson? I
Carolina
don't
versus
have that on my
Clemson.
shot sheet.
They took the series 2-1. They lost the first game 9-5. They had to play 14 innings in game two to get that win, and then beat them pretty soundly in their third game. They play UNC Wilmington beforehand. They also took 2-3 from Boston College. They've swept Notre Dame. They took 2-3 from Louisville. They swept Cal, and then lost to UVA in that series. UVA is currently number 9 in the country, so nothing crazy there in terms of impact front. So they're playing about as I mean they're also going to play Duke this season as well. And we play Duke, so we'll have a lot of common opponent stuff happening here that will provide a lot of data points as we get later in the season and as they start deciding who gets ranked where. But I mean, it literally is just win, and we're setting ourselves up for a really good situation later on.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Jack, tell us a little bit more about some pro jacket stuff that's come up this week.
I had to mention Chandler Simpson because this guy, if y'all remember, he played for us for 1 year in 2022. He came from UAB, but all he did was basically slap singles, steal all the bases, and just never not be on base. And he's doing that exact thing in Tampa Bay right now. At Tech, just for reference, at Tech he hit 433, which set the program record for average in a single season. Slugged 517 and was on base 50% of the time, 506 OBP. Right now in Major League Baseball, so like 5 levels higher than what he was playing in 2022 if you count for all the minor league levels. He's hitting 411, slugging 482, and his OBP is 441. So basically not much worse at the highest level of baseball you possibly can play. I watched his at-bats against the Yankees yesterday on Sunday, and it looks the same. Like, dude just sees a ball that looks like a strike and just slaps in the outfield. Sees a ball looks like a strike, slaps in the outfield. He had a routine double in the corner in right field at Tropicana, which isn't a deep corner. Like, that's usually just doubles. And he nearly turned it into a stand-up triple. So in terms of high-impact Yellow Jackets right now, it's that guy. He leads the AL in hits with 23. Got the highest average, of course, 2 triples. So there's going to be a lot of buzz for this guy soon. And I got a feeling the Rays might lock him down for a long time. And like, I was talking with some other friends about him. There's not many other players like him. Like, he's really fast in the outfield. He's not known for his glove. He's just wicked fast, but also just super good at contact. Like, it's kind of like if Luis Arias was ridiculously fast. That's kind of where we're at.
Oh, I got some real good stats from Baseball Savant for you. 76th percentile batting run value, 99th percentile base running run value,
Yep.
85th percentile fielding run value. But here's the kicker: average exit velo, 3rd percentile; barrel percent, 1st percentile; hard hit percent, 1st percentile; bat speed, 1st percentile; and fielding arm value, 1st percentile; sprint speed, 99th percentile; fielding range in terms of outs above average, 97th percentile. That's crazy.
He's a wild. So he's gonna be the absolute. He's gonna be the nerd favorite all year. As now that guy, now he's gonna get a full season under his belt. It's
In only
so cool
59 PAs, in only 59 plate appearances. All of this.
He's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I mean, he had the iconic clip at Tech where he scored on a sac fly from center field from second base. Like, wasn't even like a deep fly ball, and he just made it all the way from second. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries, if there's a deep fly ball, and like if it's like if he's playing when he's playing in Detroit, where that outfield that center field wall gets really really deep and they get one back there, like I am sure he's going to score from second at some point.
I don't know what unit this is in, but it says his sprint speed is 30.1. Again, 99 percentile.
Probably feet per second. Probably feet per second.
Yeah, it's got to be feet per second. It's surely not miles per hour.
No,
That's car
no,
speed.
no.
But feet per to 30.1 feet per second being the fastest in baseball is crazy.
If he
That's
hits a soft ground ball, it's over.
yeah, he's legging that out immediately. Man, he's fast. K percent, by the way, 100 percentile. He's off the chart.
He doesn't
This is just
strike out.
awesome.
That's great. He doesn't. It's
It's
that's the thing. He doesn't strike out. He just sees the
it's
ball and just slaps it. That's it.
he only hits singles and triples,
It's great.
and
It's
he's
great.
legging out the triples. That's awesome. This is incredible. Anyway, so go look at his baseball savant page. Anything else on Pro Jackets before we take a quick break?
I've got one other Georgia Tech baseball note, and that is go check out the gallery from Thursday night's game. Really awesome collection of crowd shots, including like a drone shot of the fireworks that like
Oh yeah, there were
I don't
fireworks on
know.
Thursday. Forgot to mention
Yeah,
that.
that was cool,
They did,
enjoyable.
and here's the great part: they didn't wait. Game ended. We celebrate. Two
Mhm.
minutes later, fireworks. Didn't wait.
Which
They
is
got them
good
off.
because that game was that was a long game.
It did start. Yeah, it was a little late.
It was
But
long. It ended up being cold. Like that was
Yeah,
weird. And
yeah.
then the
crisp.
team
It was
and then the
awesome. It was
team ended
perfect
up
weather.
sitting on the third base line like they were all two like
Oh
second
yeah,
graders.
they wouldn't miss the
Uh,
fireworks. Why would they miss the
it
fireworks?
was great. It was really funny.
When do you ever get to see fireworks in April? Never.
Fridays at Truist Field, I guess.
I
don't
don't
know.
count that. I don't count that.
That's not really Atlanta, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, podcast business time. Mr. Grant, take it away.
Yes, as always, this podcast is brought to you by section103.com. That is the best place to find Georgia Tech apparel. I sadly do not have any new Georgia Tech related merch, but keep an eye out there. It comes in waves, it comes in droves. Um, be sure to tell them what school you like offers for, so that way you can be in the loop for when new things do indeed get released for Georgia Tech, or just sign up for all of their 7 schools because it is very high quality stuff. As always, you can find them at section103.com. Use code FTRS for 10% off and free shipping over on orders over $100 every day. Gents, that's what I got. Back to you.
Talk about the other stickball sport, by the way. The 26 and 22 softball team, ninth in the ACC, but 51st in the pair ratings. They split their week in Iowa. They were 2-2 versus South Dakota State and Iowa, but beat Jacksonville State in 6 innings to start the week. A fascinating week, especially ahead or looking forward to a Florida State series at home in a couple weeks that is completely sold out. So, where do we want to start with this one, gentlemen?
I'll take a gander at it. Georgia Tech. This is the time. This is the time. I think kind of how we penciled this out coming into the week. Kind of at least in my book had hoped for a 3-1 showing out in Iowa. Kind of getting towards getting late here, guys. They're 26 and 22, and they get Florida State and Virginia Tech on the weekends. So, what does that mean for Georgia Tech? It means that you have to steal games against FSU and Virginia Tech to finish with a winning record. Based on pair, based on RPI, not super confident that they're not in the next 4 out, or the first 4 or the next 4 out. So, while it was generally successful in Iowa, I hoped for just a little bit more. Probably emblematic of how the season has gone, though. Any thoughts to dive off of from there?
I agree. I think, and I'm thinking about the first game against Iowa. They only lost 2-1, but Madeline Johnson threw a complete game and only allowed 2 runs, and then we only could get 1 run in the 7th inning to pull it in. Like if we find a way to get that, it was 2 outs. Like if we find a way to get that game against Iowa and get a 3-1, I say series against multiple teams, but series out in Des Moines, like that goes a long way. Uh, and it's just another one of those games where it's like it's really close, could have gone either way, and we just on the wrong side of the either way again this season, which I think is the general. I think that's the general theme here. Is like they're bet. think on paper and just in general talent, they play better than they did last year. I would say by my estimation, but close games are they just not getting all the close games they need to get to make that difference to be in a better spot from a tournament perspective and from a conference standings perspective. Now at that, if talking about coin flippy games, sometimes those just go right a certain number of times in a row, and then you find yourself in a good situation. That could be the ACC tournament. Who the hell knows? I think this right now, Florida State, who we play this weekend, they're right now going to be hosting a regional against some good. And so, but if we get two of those somehow, or one of the, like if you have one real win, one real loss, and you manage to get the coin flippy game, that's something. You can start to
But
get some momentum rolling, but who knows?
and here's where that's necessary. I think you got to beat Georgia Southern
Yeah,
coming up
yeah,
midweek. That puts Tech at 27 and 22 with 6 games remaining. If you go 1-5 in those games, that is -4, right? You finish just barely above 500. And if you then lose that first game, you finish right at 500. The strength of schedule on this team, it's pretty legit. Number 29 in the country. But I do worry that even though they're about to play 6 games against very good teams, that just being 500 won't be enough. And that's
yeah.
that's where
I
it's
agree.
tough. I think a series win, like 3-3 total against the 6 games that we have against at Virginia Tech and FSU, who are both regional caliber, regional host caliber type of teams. Um, that would go a long way. And I think it's almost like I feel a little bit like a broken record in that, like, that Iowa game, close. You wish you could have it back.
Yep,
A couple of these Louisville games leading late against Louisville in a couple cases.
yep.
You wish you could have those back. Duke, what was that series decided by? Four
Yeah,
total runs and three
this is
losses. Like,
yeah.
this is a team that's been pretty
I'd
unlucky and
argue
just unable to get that one more run,
I'd
right?
I'd argue this has been the theme since the Clemson series. Like they lose on a
Yeah.
no hitter game winning home run in the middle game of that
Yeah.
series. They barely win game three in a game that kind of arguably they shouldn't have won. They lose to UAB by one, lose to Virginia later that week by one.
Yeah.
Get a game against Virginia, lose to it then has that crazy Duke series. Georgia kind of handled this. But like now they're beating the midweek teams they need to be beating, which is good. But yeah,
But even then, like,
since then, like
you
beat
lose
West
to
Georgia.
Troy and UAB at home. Those are games that decide a season, you know?
Yeah, earlier this season, but since
Yeah,
since
yeah.
since Clemson, yeah, like or since UAB, they haven't lost those midweek games they need to be winning, and they've actually been winning them quite convincingly as well, which is good. Like Mercer killed Mercer, thank God, killed West Georgia, who doesn't even have a rating on pair. Georgia State was just a 3-1 win, but they're a tad bit better. I don't know. So yeah, it's just so annoying how it's just so barely close on so many of these, and you just don't get the right edge of it. So yeah, if they can, and it's gonna look not great when in four of our last five ACC series are gonna be sweeps if we can't sweep losses if we can't pull this off. Like that's
And
just not gonna be enough.
And the wild thing about all of this is if you look at our offense, we're a top 50 offense, not much higher than that, but a top 50 offense in every category except one, and that's runs per game. And I feel like that is like the perfect summation of how this has gone. They,
Exactly,
they've had
exactly.
they've had
Yep,
good war, they have a strong strength of schedule. Like some of this is luck. Some of it's just like they can't win the big one. They're 3-16 in quad one games, but
yep,
like that's what puts your resume in a different pile than a Louisville or a
yep,
North Carolina or just these ACC teams that are like, they're pretty good. Like Clemson's a 2 seed caliber this year, Virginia's a 2 seed caliber this year. Like,
yep.
you're just not going to put yourself ahead of a Louisville when you get swept by a Louisville,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think what's thankfully a lot of these players that are important right now also are going to be back next year. We lose Paige Vukovic, we lose Reese Hunter, we're going to lose Kenley Hillary, so like and we're going to lose Addison Leshburst. So, like we'll lose some big names, but not all of the like. There's a lot of this team that will be back next year, which is
Yeah.
a hopeful thing. And Eileen's been recruiting really really well these last few years as well. Um,
Yeah.
so even though this isn't even though like totally there's a higher ceiling that's not being realized by this team, they've got a lot of the pieces to give it another shot to crack next year, and
Yeah.
flip some of this around. So I have a lot of hope for this team, even with just how mind-numbingly close so many of these games have been. So you never
Yeah.
they could pull it off in the ACC tournament. They could get a couple surprise wins. Who the hell knows? And right now we're a very bubbly team being in the next four out. And if you can have things roll the right way and find yourself in the last four in, you never know. That's only 6, 7 teams that got to shift around. And if you do the right things, who knows? So now that means a lot's got to go our way. But I mean, they're playing good enough softball to force the issue. So that's the part I like to see.
I will say, and I don't know we said this before, but Pear has Tech finishing with just two more wins than it currently has.
Yeah,
So they'll pick up one. It's projecting a win versus Georgia Southern coming up here on Wednesday, and then somewhere in the amalgam of three Virginia Tech games and three Florida State games, there may be a projected win in there. But your margins are very, very tight currently. I don't think this maximum projection of 32 wins is really going to happen. I don't even think there's a percentage. Oh, yes, it says 0.1% attached to that part of the simulation
yeah.
on the win distribution.
So
Well,
So
and it's interesting too because I think this is kind of right where they've been projected to early in the year, right? That kind of 27 to 29 kind of range. And maybe we had some optimism going through the non-con and you're stacking up wins. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything that's fundamentally shifted. It's just they're playing a pretty tough schedule and you
yeah,
got to get lucky sometimes if you're not a,
yep,
top 16, top 24 type of team, right?
yeah,
some coin
totally.
flips just didn't go their way.
Yeah. Also, it definitely hurts a little bit to have like a Villanova down kind of relative to where they usually are. Georgia State and Kennesaw are probably down a little bit from where they are in terms of like strength and schedule type of stuff. Obviously, more at play than just that, but the when you zoom out, those
Yeah.
things definitely get noticed too. So
Let's it's answer this quickly because I know we got some stuff to get onto. But next year, like if you're the schedule maker for I guess which is Eileen, but if you're making the schedule next year, do you think about not pushing for as hard of a non-con as we have in past years? Like, do you kind of go where
This
football
is the
where
Josh Pastner
like
non-con scheduling question
you
of
don't
the
want to have.
century of the year.
Let me
I
be clear.
remember this exact same debate.
Let me be clear. You don't want to go full Damon Stoudemire and make and play every directional school along the Mid Eastern Belt, but at the same time, like you gotta play some real teams, of course. But like, do, what would you do? What would you do next? Like, do you give yourself a better chance to win more volume of
oh,
games next year, or just stick to what this is? If you win them, you win. If you don't, whatever.
I think this is the right way to schedule a year. I would much rather go to Florida and play them in their building and get some good wins in to get Alabama in your building. Like it's
Yep.
not like they went on the road and just got fed into a wood chipper by a bunch of schools, right? They
True.
played
It
challenging teams at
wasn't like
home. They
Clearwater.
played challenging teams on the road, and I think some of that pencils out to maybe I'd need to look at a little bit in the ACC like schedule rotation too, because some of this, Florida State, Virginia Tech. Both, you know, they're both tournament caliber teams.
Mhm.
Boston College is not. Louisville is. Duke is. Virginia definitely is. Clemson definitely is. So that's six. And Notre Dame's out of it. So that's what? That's only two of your conference opponents are decidedly not ACC postseason participant type of teams, and that's six that are out of the eight that are in the bubble. So you basically played every decent team except Stanford and North Carolina on the year. That's
Fair. Yeah.
that's some that's some poor scheduling luck, and they also got swept by Louisville. But then again, Louisville's a solid enough team that if you don't pick up a Pitt or a Syracuse, even one or two of those series makes that moves the needle in the ACC landscape. And NC State, like that's something that probably could have made a difference. But I'd double down. I think the non-con was great. You kind of just let the ACC play how it will. So
To that point, Louisville is as good as Clemson is this year by
yep.
your pair rating, by the way.
Yeah.
26 and 27 right after one another.
I don't know if my eye
Crazy.
test feels quite the same way about both, but I also have a lot of biases in there too, both ways. But I don't know.
You don't
Clemson's
have to root
strength
for
of
them
schedule
anymore,
is
Jake.
pretty.
You don't have to root for them anymore.
No, I was going to say Clemson's the strength of schedule. I think
I was talking
is
about the other team.
there. Oh, I yeah, but I meant like if you're playing more hard teams, you're going to have more losses. And that's what
Yeah.
Clemson has done. Louisville has played a much softer schedule than Clemson and Georgia Tech, to bring it back around to the
Yeah.
topic of the Georgia Tech conversation. But again, that's why you play the games, and that's why you have to win the games, because Louisville beat Georgia Tech 3 times. So like
Yep. Yep.
pair rating is pair rating, but like when you line up resumes next to each other, you're going to take the team, all else being equal, that swept the other team, right?
Yep.
Like that.
Yep. Yep.
And that
Would
that's
you
why I would
say
say don't
things?
schedule differently. Just be slightly less unlucky and score slightly more runs. And we're talking about this team as a 2 seed. Like that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the gist, right?
Would you say that things really went pear shaped for Georgia Tech in that Louisville series?
Yeah, I would. I really
Time to move
would.
on.
Yeah. When when
Damn,
when when
that
we've
bad.
when we've cul-de-saced Jake at Louisville softball again, yeah, it's time to move on.
Okay. Wednesday midweek versus Georgia Southern, like I said, and then the weekend at number 12, Virginia. Like I said, next week's Florida State series to close out the year is sold out with standing room tickets still available in limited quantities. Let's move over to tennis. The 500 men's tennis team, their last regular season fixture was versus Clemson. They hosted Clemson. And it was not a particularly great day at the office for anyone involved reading down this list. Three matches unfinished in singles, the all three wins in straight sets for Clemson in singles, and then two fairly quick wins for Clemson in doubles. Anything else here, gents, before we talk about the ACC tournament very quickly?
Seems like we're gonna have a tough time in Cary, North Carolina.
Oof, yeah, 15 seed. Georgia Tech is the 15 seed in the ACC tournament. They will face Cal on Wednesday at 12:30. They would face SMU in the second round with a win. On to the women. They are 10 and 13. Two unfortunate losses on the road in Syracuse and Boston College, although the Boston College one went the distance to the went the distance, a 4-3 loss. Syracuse was a 4-1 loss. Key takeaways here, gents?
I don't got much. I mean, they hasn't been the greatest season, of course. I mean, at least we're glad to see Cruz getting wins on both courts, which is big. She beat a ranked player in her match 6-4, 6-2, which is good. Um,
Not
but
not to sink the ship, but losing to Boston College in non-con is generally a poor sign about the direction things are going.
yeah,
Is that a
yeah.
non-con?
Not non-con, non-rev. Sorry, my bad.
Non-rev.
I was
Yeah.
still, my brain
Oof.
was
I
still
was
on the
very
softball
confused.
scheduling rant.
I was very
No,
confused. I will note here that it
yeah.
seems like Boston College won four singles games to put this away, so Tech had an early advantage, especially going 6-4 and 6-1 in the two doubles matches, and just couldn't put it away in the singles. They are actually already qualified into the ACC tournament second round. They will face FSU also on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Quick check in on golf. They are actively in progress at the Ford Collegiate. After the first round, they are eighth at even. The leaders are 30 under par. So a bit of ground to make up there.
Oh, I gotta revise this. Sorry, I wrote this wrong. This has actually been two rounds. There's a third round. We've dropped one spot to ninth. We shot one under yesterday, one over today, and yeah, Texas shot 16 under on Sunday and 14 under today.
Oof,
Yeah,
man.
Auburn's right behind them at 23 under. Like they are, and they're both top five teams. Like it's gonna be probably Auburn and Texas in the final, or at least in the semifinals this year, wherever those are for NCAA championships. So we're still ranked number 19, but it's a far cry from what these top teams are doing right now in college golf.
Do we think
Talk
that's
to me
like
a
a
little.
big like booster situation? This is probably a non an off season. About said non-con again.
Well, I would
Unpack.
say in Auburn's case, they've got Jackson Koivu, who will win
Is
PGA Tour tournaments when he
yeah.
gets there. And the dude's freaking great. He's actually not winning this tournament right now. His teammate Caden Pope is winning this tournament at 9 under right now. Jackson Koivu's at 7 under, and he shot 5 under today. Um, so yeah, it's we we don't have the we don't have the guys that can just absolutely take over tournaments right now. We're not a bad team.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, we're not a bad team at all. We still get Hiroshi tied, shot 200, or is that 200? Aiden Trans at 200. Like they're a top 20 right now in this tournament, but the back end of our team is not as deep as it used to be. Ben Reuter, long stay, long time guy, shooting 9 over total right now. Kale Fontenot 5 over. So, uh, yeah, there's some dudes not like Augusta University is beating us right now. Like we aren't the best team in Georgia at the moment. Georgia's also beating us, but uh, yeah, that's just where we're at. So
Anyone want to talk about track
Lovely.
and field next to raise our spirits a little bit?
Taylor Wade and Alexander Arambide went 1-2 in the 1500 in Cleveland, Tennessee. That's cool. Hannah Schemmel got second in the women's 1500. That's cool. Taylor Ward's looking. There's a Taylor Wade and a Taylor Ward. Let me be clear. Taylor Wade's the runner. Taylor Ward's the high jumper who got to 1.76 best in a year. Which they did around this time last year at ACCs. So we'll see how they got some big meets coming. We've got to meet this weekend on campus for the Tech Invitational. So they're tapering, they're getting better, performances are getting better. So I'll be very curious to see if we get any like top 10 in program history kind of performances this week at home. It'll be a good weather week as well. Very warm, very sunny, or at least not like super hot, but it could be if you're on campus for whatever reason, it could be a good thing to go check out.
Cool. Any other news and notes from around the flats, gentlemen?
So many
I got
news.
one from men's basketball. It
Do it.
seems that Bayan Dago and Nate George are now both playing together at Pitt? Question mark.
That yes.
Fascinating recruitment, fascinating roster construction going on at Pitt. It seems.
For for all those people that were really salty about Florida rebuilding our football team in Gainesville,
What
sneaky,
the hell?
sneaky Pitt Panthers,
Eh,
sneaky, sneaky,
it's
you know.
those light blue teams just don't like us. They don't like us.
Opposite sides of the country on that one. That's fascinating to me.
Something like that. Yeah. Opposite sides of the East Coast, sort of. I think it's where more.
North south sides there. It's all a directional contrast. That's
Uh,
the point.
it's a
Please move on before I
yeah.
dig myself into a deeper hole.
This is a crossover of my day job and this fun thing that we do. On Thursday is Ramble the Night, which is like Georgia Tech's like the Alumni Association's annual gathering of alumni across the world. So if you happen to be one of our rare listeners that is not living on the eastern seaboard of the United States or LA, there is probably a Georgia Tech gathering for you on Thursday night, local time for you. But athletics is getting heavily involved this year with it. It's a big hangout night / giving night for Giving Day and things like that, which you give if you want, you don't have to. But if you're around the city and you want to hang out with some people in the athletic department, Thursday is a great night to do that. If you're in Midtown Atlanta, Ryan Alpert, Coach Key, Coach Cross, Coach Wenke, Tim Salem, Nathan Brock, and Charles Neves are all going to be at New Realm to help get the word out. At Mutation Brewing, if you're in that part of town, Brent Jones will be there. Alan Mogridge will be there. Vinny Sunseri will be there. So a good range of coaches and admin. Six Bridges, Georgia Tech founded brewery. Robbie Poteet will be up there. He's a big guy for development. If you happen to have a lot of money that you want to give, you should talk to him right now. If you're in Roswell, Karen Blair, Michelle Collier, and Jillian Aiken are all going to be in the same spot. That's going to be really cool. Third door in Cobb, get Brian Bohannon, Pat Boyle, and Josh Thompson. Is an interesting group of folks there. Sumit Shah will be at Scepter Arts in Decatur, which is really cool. And then the tennis teams are actually going to get in on this as well because this is happening while they're at ACC. So they're going to Carolina Ale House out in Cary, which is really cool. So this is a big engagement thing, and maybe this has been the defining, I think, word of Ryan Alpert's tenure so far is engagement, and they are going headfirst into this already pre-built alumni nationwide, worldwide event we've been putting on for years. And it's like, hey, let's just tap in and help just get the word out, get things going there. So it's really cool to see this happening, and just it's another one of the alignment things, so to say, that's that's
There
happening.
it is. There it is.
It's
That's what I was. That's what I unmuted
that's where
for.
we're at. That's where we're at. It's more alignment, but it's really good alignment. So, um,
I forgot that Six Bridges was a tech-owned brewery. That's
yeah, yeah,
I gotta remember that,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's not there's not enough of them. There's a few in the state. I think there's one up like in Blue Ridge, but like I wish my dad did not go to Auburn for now this particular reason in our brewery. But alas. Yeah.
But
Well, if you're, yeah, no matter where you're at, there's a lot. If you're in Georgia, there's a lot of places around the state that are hosting gatherings
yeah,
on Thursday night. So you don't have to be in Atlanta proper or a greater Atlanta to get involved with something like this. So no matter where you are, you should be able to find something close by to you.
yeah.
Cool. Anything else, gentlemen?
We won a national championship. Buzz did, I should say. Buzz won his back. He's back to back
I was
mascot
gonna
national
say
champion. Back to
it was
back. At least
it was
his
not swim club, Jack.
no. It was at least his sixth. He's won it in 2000, 2001, 2005, 2006, 2023, 2025, and 2026. Was that seven? That's seven. I think there might be a couple in the 90s that we need to add onto the list as well, but at least those seven in the 21st century. So freaking great. Cheerleading got second at the same competition, which is the National Cheerleading Association or NCAs. That's what it is. So that's a big freaking deal there. At least for that is the athletic department runs these programs. Like that is them putting on a really good footing, and those teams have been very well led for a long time. So even if you're not in the actual playing a game sport under the athletic department, they find a lot of success in a lot of other ways right now. So also they just whoever's auditioning for Buzz these last few years is killing it. Like that
Yeah.
that's not the same person winning all these national titles. Like that's different people in playing the character doing really well. So that's I'll be we should find out if it's the same person that did the competition in the suit the last 2 years. That'd be interesting to find out. Was it canonically? It's obviously still Buzz, but was it did they roll out the same game plan for 2025?
I don't ruin my immersion. I don't want to know. It's
Jack,
Buzz. Buzz is Buzz. I am a child. I will keep my eyes closed. Santa still
can I?
exists, Jack. Mr. Grant, would you like to take us out?
Yes, as always, you can find us from therumbleseat.com. You can email us your thoughts, comments, suggestions from therumbleseat at gmail.com. Jack, Akshay, it's off season for football, but gameonpaper.com never stops? Question mark. I'll let them respond to that. Akshay is shaking his head. Game on Paper is currently stopped, but it'll be back. There we go.
No, no,
All
no,
right,
no, no,
now
no.
that
No, I
page.
was shaking your
Oh,
head in that it never
oh,
stops. I was agreeing with you.
oh, okay, okay,
We
okay.
don't we
So
don't
Game on
stop.
Paper continues to go on, but yeah, this is
Just
great
get to
podcasting.
the.
From therumbleseat.com, from therumbleseat at gmail.com. Section 103 is at section103.com and at section 103 on Instagram. You can find us on Blue Sky. I'm over there. Jack's over there. Game on Paper's over there. And you can find this podcast wherever fine podcasts are distributed. If you didn't catch all of those, I'll say them again next week. Till we speak again, good night, good luck, and go Giants.